Welcome to yet another episode of Not Yet Mature, the podcast series talking about life and business, the mix between the two, and hopefully allowing the entrepreneur and founder to find some insights of what the path looks like, or rather, should look like ahead. XCAP has a vision that the ethical business that is formed around servitude and relational transactions should be given the advantage to exit the finite space and enter the infinite games. This, collectively, is our mission and our goal. Without further delay, let's dive into today's chat. Here with me, your host, founder of Exemplo Capital, Dion Richter. Like and subscribe.
One of the biggest things that we offer at XCAP is obviously sales training. And I don't want to guess or anything, but I think we showed in our statistics trained over 4,000 sales executives. Let's half that just to be sure. Let's say 2,000, 3,000 sales executives in plenty of countries, 6 continents. And we've worked with so many sales models out there, developed unique sales models for different things. But the one thing that is always an issue, regardless of where you go, the biggest struggle is we can develop a cold calling, a telemarketing, however you want to see it, framework, and we struggle to get people to execute on it. It is such a unique type of person that is able to do cold calling and to do it right. Now, when we do part of our sales structure and training, we develop a unique series of cold calling techniques that we use a framework of, and we develop it around the culture of the company and the culture of the audience to not sound foreign, to relate with that. So you'll see on Instagram all these famous videos. The problem is you can't always apply it into your company because it will in some cases sound rude or offensive, depending on which cohort you speak to. So we love cohorting people, putting in certain divisions or attributes of a company, classifying them as such, and then take a universal branded message from the company and relate it into the audience's ear on how they should hear it to have an active conversation. I think the objective with cold calling is to have conversation over trying to sell it. In essence, so today I thought, let me jump behind the mic. Let me give you some of our framework material. I don't think it will be that valuable to copy and paste and make it work, but maybe there is something. Because I think in a sense, cold calling is applicable to everyone. And yeah, why not see if something that we mention here today might help you, might be applicable to our framework, but definitely not applicable to you. That's why we always in our discovery call evaluate our customers to see how that should be changed. So although this is our framework advice, it's not always the advice we'll give to every single client. Make sense? Let's chat. So welcome back to Not Yet Mature. This is the podcast where we break down business, leadership, and all the things they don't teach you in school. Today, we're tackling rather a skill that makes most people's palm sweat. Cold calling. Yes, the dreaded dialing, the fear of rejection, and the awkward, hello, who's this? Wait, let's get the voice for that. Where's the voice? Here we go. Let's do this. Hello, who is this? All of those moments. I love this type of things. Let's go back to that. But I promise you, by the end of this episode, I don't want to promise you. I promise you'll pick up something. Cold calling will seem, yes, this is a promise I can give. I promise you that cold calling will seem less like a nightmare and more like an art form. Because that's exactly what it is. We believe sales is an art. Cold calling is part of sales, and that's an art form. It's a tool. It's a brush that you can use. Now, If you're in sales or business development or just trying to get your foot in the door, cold calling is a skill you cannot afford to ignore. So let's break it down. What does it take to make a great cold call? How do you turn an uninterested prospect into a warm conversation? Because that is the ideal. We want to have a conversation. We want to build a relationship. We want to be relational selling over pushing. And most importantly, how do you keep your confidence after hearing no? Especially after hearing no 100 of times. Where I'm going to give that one again. Hello. The answer is no. I love that. Buckle up because we're going deep into this today. Let me take you back to my very first cold call. I was fresh in sales, wide-eyed and determined. I picked up the phone, dialed the number, and as soon as the person answered, I froze up, completely blanked. Looking at a screen, looking at a script, I mumbled something incoherent. They hung up, and I just sat there staring at the phone. At that moment, I was convinced that cold calling wasn't for me. But here's the thing, cold calling is like learning to ride a bike. You're going to fall off a couple of times, basically every single day. Maybe a lot of times. But if you keep getting back on with the new resources and tools that we implement around your business, so many of them, suddenly you start getting somewhere. Now there's a psychology of cold calling. So why do most people hate cold calling? Simple. Because it's rejection. It's a fear of interrupting someone's day, sounding stupid, or being told off. Let's shift that perspective. Well, first, let's tune into that perspective. Cold calling is like this. Imagine in practice, you sitting at a restaurant at a table, and across you is a table with 1, 2, 3, 4, doesn't matter how many people. They're busy with their day, with their lunch, with their conversations. They're busy there. Now practice this. Walk up to one of those on the table, whether they're alone or 2 or 3. Walk up straight to them, have a conversation with them, just interrupting them. They will find it rude. They will shut you down. They will be like, dude, what are you busy doing? I'm busy having a conversation here. And that is how the landing approach looks like on most cold calls. Interrupting someone in that moment. So there needs to be a perception change. Instead of thinking, I'm bothering them, think I might be offering them the exact solution they need. Because confidence is everything in cold calling. If you don't believe in what you are saying and what you are doing is there to help them, and if it isn't there to help them, it's just to make a quick buck or sell something, then honestly, my friend, I would not suggest doing it in the first place. There is a difference. Then the resources and tools we develop, the things we do is for the company that we believe should be in the infinite space, not for the quick buck trying to steal or rob or anything like that. And unfortunately, most of them also find in this space. So you need to structure the perfect cold call. And let's talk about that structure. A good cold call, every single time A good cold call isn't just picking up the phone and winging it. There's a flow. And here's some form of framework that works. Firstly, there's the hook. You have 5 seconds, only 5, to grab their attention. This is not, hi, my name is Francis, my name is Dion, and I work for XYZ company. No, try this. Hey, John, I know I'm calling you out of the blue, but I think I have something that could really help you. It's unexpected, and it buys you a few more seconds. The second one is the reason for your call. Get to the point. I work with similar clients, and we help them solve a specific problem. I want to quickly see if this is something you struggle with too. The third part of your frame should engage. Don't pitch. Engage with them. Don't pitch. Remember yourself. Do not pitch. Engage. Think about pitchfork, devil. Do not, rather engage. Nobody likes a sales pitch. Instead of listing features Ask questions. How do you currently handle this problem? Have you ever considered trying a different approach? Ask questions, engage with them, and then close for the next step. The goal of a cold call isn't to sell, never to sell. It's to set up the next step. Would it make sense to have a quick 15-minute chat later this week and we schedule it now if you see this could be useful for you? The next part is, I think our biggest thing in sales is, whether it's email, whether it's marketing, whether it's one-to-one, whether it's relational, is we always develop something that we called objection handling. Now, objections are where most people panic. I'm not interested. Now's not a good time. Send me an email. All these classics, right? The secret is not to fight objections, but to understand them. If they say, I'm not interested, remember, pause there. In sales, I've said it so many times, in your company, the MVP is about perceived value, what they see as value, not what you push as value. So also learn, understand, and adapt from that moment. Your minimum viable product is not what you offer, it is what they perceive it to be. And that's where the expectations are linked. Regardless if you said, but I never said that. Regardless if you said, my terms and conditions doesn't include that. Regardless if you said, I clearly said, what they perceived is all that counts. If they say, I'm not interested, you say, I hear you. I'm not here to waste your time. But just out of curiosity, is something, what's the pain point? Something you've thought about fixing this year. And angle out. A lot of times people object because they don't know enough yet. Your job is to keep the conversation going without being pushy. It's a balance. Then there needs to be a mindset of a winning cold caller. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this episode, it's this. Cold calling is not about selling. It's about starting a conversation about your MVP and how they perceive it. If you can get people talking, you are winning. If you can stay curious, you're winning. If you can keep dialing after 10 rejections, you already are ahead of 90% of people in sales. I'll tell you that now. Look, cold calling is never going to be easy, but it can be fun. Every call is a puzzle. Every no gets you closer to a yes. So if you're struggling with a cold call, do yourself a favor, stop overthinking it. Pick up the phone and start dialing, because the people who win in business, they're the ones willing to have more conversations than everyone else. Short, basic things where so many objection handlings and techniques, hooks and frames and wording and scripts can be incorporated, but it all falls down to those slightly basic points. That's a wrap for today's episode, just like that. Another wrap of Not Yet Mature. If you found this useful, go and make 5 phone calls. Cold calls, just for practice. And let me know how it goes. If you like this episode, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. And as always, keep pushing, keep growing, and I'll catch you on the next one.
This is Not Yet Mature, and you are listening to Dion Richter. Thanks for being here. Please subscribe to our channels.